Hey there, Virgin. I know more likely than not you're a magician watching this video. See if you could follow along with where you think the card is. In this case, we have the 10 of spades. That card is going to get cut somewhere in the middle of the deck, and we're just going to shuffle the deck. Right now, you might be keeping track of where you think that card is until this moment right over here, where that card is, well, I seem to have made a little bit of a mistake. But have I? But have I made a mistake? Of course I haven't. Now, if you're a normal person and you're looking at this video, you might not know what's going on. But to a magician that knows what to look for, that may or may not have fooled you. This is a control specifically designed to throw off magicians. Now, why would you need to learn a control like this? To fuck with them. This is based on a control by John Bannon. In this case, we have the Jack of Diamonds. That card is going to get lost in the middle of the deck. And John Bannon would have this really aggressive in-jog. And then he would just square that card up. So right now, if you're a magician and you're tracking what you think he's doing, you're going to look at that in-jog and think, oh, he's going to cut at that in-jog. But when he squares it up, well, where did the card go? And of course, in that action, the card is controlled directly to the top. This is the exact same idea, and we're taking advantage of what magicians are looking for, and we're just hooking them in. So this is a fun little thing that you do with your magic buddies if you want to throw them off the scent. But other than that, this really has no other purpose for existing. Check out the PigCake Magic Academy, the home of over 1,500 videos going over everything you need to become the best magician you could possibly be. Just look at that content. Look at the list of things you get access to the moment you sign up, all for the low price of a White Claw a month. And you could even get a 7-day free trial by looking at the link in the description section below. Join today. So essentially what we're doing here is that instead of cutting the card to the top, we're cutting the card to the bottom. Much like that John Bannon control, where it seems like we're directly cutting their card to the top and then doing this massive in-jog, we're going to do the exact same thing, but using a riffle shuffle. So here we're going to have a card picked, and we're going to retain a break directly below it as we square it up into the pack. So right now I have a break directly below it. Immediately, I'm going to cut the cards once, having that card supposedly come to the top. Now you do this quickly into the control to give the impression that you're cutting that card directly to the top of the deck. At this point, you're going to break the cards in half, and their card is going to be on the bottom, but they think it's on top. So you're going to break the deck at this point. You're going to start the riffle shuffle with just a couple cards from your left hand, and you're going to continue leaving what is a very sizable amount of cards in your right hand before you square up the pack. The impression you're giving the participants is that, well, you're keeping track of their card, which is apparently on top of the deck. Really, you're just minding the bottom card. You're going to repeat this action one more time, making sure that you have a very sizable chunk here left in the right-handed half. However, the third time you do this, what you're going to do is you're going to do the exact opposite. So now I'm going to let go of a chunk of cards from my left hand. Remember, you're still keeping track of that card directly in the bottom, but now I've left a chunk from my left hand going what they think is the top card of the deck, which they should assume is their card. A little thing you could do here at this point as well is when you square up the cards, you could look like you're trying to get a break right there above their card. You could then let go of the break and now continue off with the participant thinking that their card is somewhere here near the top. So the perception of this control is that you've cut their card directly to the top of the pack and you're trying to retain it there in a very obvious way. Really, what you're doing here in the third shuffle is you're losing that card, pretending like you've messed up, and really their card is directly controlled to the bottom of the pack. So then you could go ahead and produce it in any way that you want. And of course, they're going to get fooled because they thought that they were following their card the entire time. But you lied. You lied to them. It's a small thing, but you could take advantage of the fact that magicians are looking for things that we're familiar with. We look for these little breaks. We look for these little controls. And when we're having the cards shuffled like this, we're seeing if they're retaining that card in the top position. So we take advantage of that and use that to abuse magicians. If you're a normal person and you stumbled across this tutorial, I apologize. I know it's a very virgin-y one, but sometimes you got to have these. Some advice at the end of the video. Boy, these are really getting harder to do. As I've mentioned before, I was waiting on this watch strap, which is a NATO one. And this one is from the James Bond movie. This one is from Goldfinger, I believe. It's not the exact same type that he wore. He wore a regular watch strap, but people thought it was a NATO strap. This one, what I've done is that I've actually cut the little bottom part off, and I've used a lighter to make sure that the strands don't fray. And you have a very nice looking strap here. Very thin, very minimal. I'm starting to like these because you could just swap them out anytime you want to change the look of your watch to maybe match your outfit. And it's a nice little thing. And you could swap them out easily. You could just take it out and put it in. Whereas with a band, you gotta go in there and you gotta press it. For example, here I have a Seiko 007 with a modded bezel that I added in. And this one has the classic Jubilee bracelet. But the problem with this is try taking that puppy off. Try taking that puppy off. It's a nightmare. As a matter of fact, I want to replace the band because this one has always been very loose. So I want to replace it for a tighter one, and I don't want to because I don't want to go through the hassle of having to switch out the bands. Whereas if you have, for example, a needle strap, you can just take it out, put it in, and you're good to go. So little bit of advice there.
I see you again, when 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 I see